But see, look, think about it this way. So you put all that information in an email, which is public record. I like to think about it this way when I'm typing an email. Would I want the newspapers or local news stations to get that information and blast it across the nation? If the answer is no, then I don't put it in an
We had
email.
an incident with our canine, with one of our female employees, where the canine jumped up while she was bending down and hit her in the mouth and caused some minor injuries. So, if that's what you're talking about, those are the incidents.
Okay, so the incidents are true?
We've got actually a couple of requests for you to go through the questions that were submitted ahead of time. Okay. Bob, I'm going to unmute his mic here. Stand by. Okay, go ahead, Bob.
Hi, Chief. I'm inquiring about a 2016 shooting that I saw on the internet, along with an officer assaulted a female employee, causing facial injury and eye injury in the dispatch room at makeohiogreat.com. And I was wanting to see if that is true, or if it's a fabricated story, or if there's any incident reporting that in Grove City.
Okay, let me repeat that question. I wasn't tracking you very closely. There is a report that there was a shooting where one of our female employers was injured. If that's the question, the answer is that is false. That is not a true report.
So the video that we see at makeohiogreat.com is not from the Grove City Police Department?
I'm not sure what video you're referring to. The question was...
It appears that the website makeohiogreat.com, it appears there's an officer shooting a gun. It says it's a live stimulator, and it shows an officer covering the camera up after the shooting. And I was wondering what that video about and why, if that was released to the public or...
I'm not familiar with that website. I don't want to speculate when I'm not sure what you're referring to. We have not had a female employee shot.
No, I'm sorry. The website, it appears the website showing two different instances. One, there was an officer shooting, and another, there's an officer that assaulted a female employee in the dispatch room, causing facial injury. And her name is, it appears, Tasha Rutain, and it appears that her mother-in-law is Lori Rutain, who is the secretary for Lieutenant Lawless. And it appears that Lieutenant Lawless was transferred to City of Gahanna Chief of Police. And it looks like they're the person that filed a complaint with City of Gahanna on misconduct that is related to Grove City misconducts. And I was wondering if the officer shooting at that simulator video is from Grove City, and if an officer assaulted a female in the dispatch room in 2016 that caused facial injury.
Okay, I think I understand what you're saying, and we're going to move quickly on to this so we can get into a lot of the questions that we have. For the audience here, we had an accidental discharge in a training room, and there is a video of that, so I believe that's what he's talking about with the Grove City officer that happened several years ago. And the second is we had an incident with our canine, with one of our female employees, where the canine jumped up while she was bending down and hit her in the mouth and caused some minor injuries. So if that's what you're talking about, those are the incidents.
Okay, so the incidents are true?
We've got actually a couple of requests for you to go through the questions that were submitted ahead of time. Okay.
Do I have permission to contact old employees?
Whatever you want to do as a private citizen, you're welcome to do.
Okay.
If you hold yourself out to be a City of Gahanna employee, the police are going to be knocking on your door. The problem with police in general, everywhere, is they don't like change particularly.
Right.
And when they do, it takes a while to let go of tools that they're so ingrained in like the everyday things that they use. When you make a change, it's difficult for them to, for whatever reason, not saying it's right, that's just the nature of the people who work in a law enforcement profession.
My concern one day they'll be caught in a compromising situation where they can't play something that they have and they've lost the evidence.
Unfortunately, that's what's going to happen probably, and then they'll start using the new system.
And that's why some things I'll let go, but some I won't.
Yeah, that's when I was at Columbus, some officer went in and like to some system and erased like 100,000 public records because they didn't know what they were doing because it was in an old system. And what do you know after that? They started using the new one that was backed up to all these cloud servers. So unfortunately, sometimes that's what happens.
And I'm willing to keep speaking and take the hit to protect the city for that, to do the right thing. But I'll admit, I get frustrated.
Oh yeah, it seems frustrating. Yeah.
When you can see the whole thing. But
see, look, think about it this way. So you put all that information in an email, which is public record. I like to think about it this way when I'm typing an email. Would I want the newspapers or local news stations to get that information and blast it across the nation? If the answer is no, then I don't put it in an email.
it seems like no one wants to fix the problem. And that's the frustration.
Maybe they don't.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
We're getting a new mayor in January, so I can tell you that there are a lot of things that are going on with the city that are just essentially like status quo, as is, things are on hold, we're not going to spend money, like we're just maintaining a level to keep this city running. And that's what happens when you work in a political environment and administrations are turning over. I don't know how many administrations turned over in your prior employment, but they have turned over numerous times in all the cities I've worked in. And this is the time of year when a new mayor is going to come in at the end of the year. Nothing happens. Literally nothing gets done. It's just, here's our base. See, think about it this way. So you put all that information in an email, which is public record. I like to think about it this way when I'm typing an email. Would I want the newspapers or local news stations to get that information and blast it across the nation? If the answer is no, then I don't put it in an email.
Right. But you're getting upset that I'm documenting it.
For your, we have, what did we say to you?
Okay.
Where can you document?
From this point forward, I won't tell the end users unless they ask.
Where are you supposed to document things? We already told you in this meeting.
I document it for myself and send it to the team at IT.
But again, it's put in a ticket that the end user sees.
What's that?
But you're putting that information in a ticket that the end user sees.
So what do you want me to do? How do I document it?
I would say if it's a specific issue, keep a separate list. Right? Because again, we're trying not to give the end, or we're trying not to put these particular types of issues in the end user's hands, right? To where it looks like.
Don't mock the fucking deaf guy or he'll report us to HR. Be Lieutenant Murphy.
You've heard that statement made, though.
Yes.
How about the next comment I'm going to go into is, hey, fucking deaf guy. Have you ever heard him just call him, turn up your fucking bell tones?
Yeah, that was the same time frame.
Still, Lieutenant Murphy.
Yes.
No vulgar language.
Not that I heard.
Discussion. Okay.
No. Are we on a fucking riot? And who needs ink and who needs a good idea to do? There's a giant ass fucking printer and the computer where you ready to roll?
If you replace the battery, yeah. The computer would never issue.
Motherfucker. So I can go down and erase that off the board. We fucking know.
We have a
That
new
is-
HR director today. Let's try to stay out of her office for at least the 3 days, right? That gets us the whole
fuck.
week.
Heck, he'll carry himself.
Isn't that movie?
Jerry's kind of a dick to us, and we were like,
Yeah.
I go in on second shift, I sit the fuck down. On purpose.
All right.
On purpose.
Okay.
So, gotta smack a shit out of
Way
him.
easier to ask for forgiveness than permission, stupid men.
There you go, you stupid men.
You put all that information in an email, which is public record. I like to think about it this way when I'm typing an email. Would I want the newspapers or local news stations to get that information and blast it across the nation?
So I'm still trying to understand why an outside, originally you said outside would come in and then that got changed.
Yeah, upon further review with some of our people we consult with here, they determined that Melissa and I could look into this, and then if it came up that there was anything that it would warrant an outside person looking at it, then we would go from there. But the first step was to talk to you. We'll follow up with some other people. I'm just here. Melissa will write the report and sign the report.
Okay.
I'm just taking notes and helping her along the way so she can learn how to do these as well.
Okay.
Probably not till next year.
Okay.
What is that around your neck?
Bluetooth to my phone. So I listen to radio or music. Yeah. So a lot of people think
I thought
I'm.
you were recording
Yeah.
it.
So when
Brian's a dick.
people think I ignore them, it's because I can't hear nothing else. When
I was just getting ready to say it's what he uses to ignore me in the morning.
Brilliant.
so I'm sitting at the desk, fine. But I think
He also has no peripheral vision. Vision.
Vision?
Peripheral vision. Right.
Oh, God.
Because I'm like, here. And he's like, Ryan. Like, hey. He's like, oh. Yeah. They said I couldn't hear you. That's,
Oh,
I
that's-
looked
I'm
into
just
that.
focused
I
on my
looked
work.
into that. They said,
I wouldn't have asked.
So, yeah.
Gotta smack a shit out of
Way
him.
easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
That's true.
Agree.
That's so true. Is that true? Yeah.
I always use that when I would sell jewelry. Stupid men.
There you go, you stupid men. Stupid
Where did
men.
you work? What jewelry? I don't know. I didn't look at the
then
printer
how you know it's not the generator?
because
How
according
do
to
you
Grant,
know it was the generator?
according to
Because I
Grant,
provided him the audit log and everything.
according to Grant, the power never went off over at PD when the generator
Okay.
thing happened.
Do you want to understand how the generator works? I've worked 10 years with
It has
Buckeye Power.
nothing to do with.
I
we're
can
not
prove
gonna-
it to
we're-
you.
No, we're not going to get into that. My point is Grant said the power never went off.
He is correct. The power never went out.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay.
But what he's incorrect on, with my 10 years experience with Buckeye Power sales, who
Here's
does,
what you're not going to do in this meeting. I'm going to tell you right now.
is
You are not going to throw a deputy director of this institution under the bus and say he doesn't know what he's talking about.
no.
No,
he-
that's exactly what you were about to do, and I'm not going to sit here and listen to you throw one of my colleagues of the executive level, decision makers of this entity, under the bus.
No, what I'm saying is he is correct. The power did not go off.
You said he was wrong about something else. Did you talk to Grant? Because I think Craig talked to Grant. You didn't talk to Grant.
If we had a monitoring system, you would see
We don't have money for these things,
I
Brian.
understand, but I know what's going on. The power didn't go off. And the generator only detects when it's off for X amount of seconds, and then it will monitor that. Because I had the same issue in Grove City. The issue is when the generator kicks on, you have a power spike and a power brownout. The generator can't tell you that. So there was a power spike and there was a power brownout when the generator kicks on and off. The electric was not off for, I think it's 7 seconds, whatever they program it. So the power didn't go off. That is correct. But there was a power spike and there was a power brownout that caused these issues. That is not, we don't get alerts on that. That's what caused the issues. The power doesn't have to go out to corrupt something. It has to be above 112 volts, or it has to be below 112 volts, and it causes corruption. The same in the cars. If it's below 12 volts, it causes corruption. They're 11.5. It doesn't mean it's out. When there's not fluctuation, if it's beyond the parameters, it causes corruption. So Grant is correct, the power didn't go out. But there was a fluctuation in power spike or power brownout that caused the issue.
Transcribed for those people that are hearing it.
Right. But you're getting upset that I'm documenting it.
For your, we have, what did we say to
Okay.
you?
Okay.
Where can you document?
From this point forward, I won't tell the end users unless they ask.
Where are you supposed to document things? We already told you in this meeting.
I document it for myself and send it to the team at IT.
But it gets put in a ticket that the end user sees.
What's that?
But you're putting that information in a ticket that the end user sees.
So what do you want me to do? How do I document it?
I would say if it's a specific issue, keep a separate list. Right? Because again, we're trying not to give the end, or we're trying not to put these particular types of issues in the end user's hands, right? To where it looks like